Hello everyone, this is Seher here. By way of my small blog called The Bombay Glutton, I try to document my love for food and travel. One of the things that I do on the blog that is very close to my heart is documenting nuances and information and recipes of my community's cuisine. So I belong to a lesser known community called the Konkani Muslims, who inhabit the coastal districts of Maharashtra. So we are found in districts of Mumbai, Thane, Palghar, Raigad, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg. This is where the Arab merchants would land on the western coast of India, in addition to Kerala coast. During pre-Islamic times, you could say. And that's how their amalgamation with the local population took place, and that's how the genesis of this Konkani Muslim community happened by and large. So our cuisine therefore is very much reflective of practices of the larger Maharashtrian cuisine, owing to a lot of produce of the land that was accessible to the community, and also the Middle Eastern influence that the Arabs could have on certain aspects of the cuisine. So since we are coastal folks, three very important ingredients to our Konkani Muslim cuisine are rice, seafood and coconut, also largely reflective of the produce of the lands that we inhabit. In addition to that, another important grain which was sourced from lands far and beyond, and today is somewhat grown in the inhabited lands, was wheat. We do eat mutton and chicken, but their use was always reserved for special occasions. On a regular basis, seafood formed the major source of non-vegetarian protein in our diet, apart from eggs. Now, in addition to the protein sources and the starch sources that I've mentioned, we do have a lot of vegetables and lentils incorporated in our diet. Now, where did these vegetables come from? These were largely gourds that would be grown in the backyard of houses. So right from bottle gourd to snake gourd to bitter gourd to pumpkins were in abundance available. Apart from that, a lot of cluster beans was something that were available, brinjals that were available, sweet potatoes that were available, that were bought in use to cook various kinds of dishes. If you go to see, our dishes are simple also, and then there are the complicated sweet dishes also. So everyday fare would largely have rice flour chapatis that were made, and these would be eaten with a dish of vegetables and a dish of seafood prepared, and there would be different side dishes in the form of chutneys or khar, or even salads put together quickly. So our Konkani Muslim cuisine has an extensive repertoire of sweet dishes that we make. These were largely made for breakfast, and they could be had as snacks throughout the day. So these range from sweetened eggs, so the sasringa, where eggs are cooked with onion and jaggery. Then there is dhapkyachi shak, which is the calabash slow cooked again with onions and jaggery and cardamom and coconut till a dense caramelization occurs, to the ghaune, which are the 7-layered pancakes that are made much similar to the Maharashtrian satkapi ghaune, but the only difference in the Konkani Muslim version is that we entail eggs. Then, like I said, there are a lot of sweet pastas that are made, right from sevaiyan to saravle to sukri to kobi, that are made. So saravle are ring-shaped wheat pasta, which are sweetened with sugar, flavored with green cardamom. We also ground rice to the consistency of semolina to make a very typical bread called sandan, which is a steamed rice and coconut bread, very similar looking to the tatta idli, or you can say it's made in both savory and sweet versions. So the savory version is relished with mutton curry, and the sweet versions are served with cream and dry fruits. So there are various nuances of our cuisine which are unique, which take on aspects of the Maharashtrian way of cooking, some of them influenced by the Arab way of cooking of in the sense the way eggs are extensively used in pasta dishes, or some of the wheat and lentil gruels that are made, which derive their whole Middle Eastern influence. But because nobody is documenting these recipes, a lot of people of the community are unaware that such dishes actually exist in our cuisine. So my whole intent of this blog is, from wherever I can learn, whether it is people in my family or back in the villages who can teach, and that I can save this culinary heritage for the future.